less than a week away, and if you're looking for ways to make a small contribution to the planet, bees may be just the place to start. Dr. Cory Gaiser from Gaiser Bee Company joins us now to talk about how important bees can be and how we can help in our own backyard.
Good morning.
Good morning, doctor. First of all, you're a physician.
Correct.
So, it's not like you have a ton of free time, but in your free time, so one of the things that you do is beekeeping. Yep. So what got you interested in that?
So my wife and I, we had a small, we called it an urban farm at our house on the other side of town. And one of the things that was missing was pollinators. We had a garden, and it always seemed like the garden was lacking in vegetables. So we actually traded some chickens for some bees. It was our first initial encounter of bees on our own. Now my family does have a farm down in Florida, a small hobby farm that we kept bees on, but my exposure to them was very limited. So we got bees here, and they didn't do well. They died in the middle of the first season, and so that kind of drew our curiosity is why did these bees die? And through our research, we learned there's a whole bunch of problems going on that are plaguing the bees right now, and so that curiosity really grew. And the more information we got, the more people were coming to us, like, hey, what are going on with my bees? And kind of me having a science background and being a physician, it almost kind of naturally led me in a weird way to what we're doing today. So it's a lot about helping people figure out what's wrong with their bees and why, or what they can do to help manage their bees much better. Yeah,
that actually makes sense the way you describe it. With the science background, you're kind of generally interested and have the knowledge of how to do all the research on these things. What could somebody like me or anybody out there who's interested, because I've heard a lot about the declining bee population, what can we do to help the bee population? If we don't want to have like our own hive, I don't think I'm ready for something like that.
So there's actually a lot of things you can do. Probably the number one thing that we tell people is let the weeds grow in your yard.
Okay.
One of the big problems besides pesticides is monoculture of farm crops, but then taking land which bees used to forage on and other animals and developing it. You have these apartment complexes, strip malls and stuff that takes away land that these insects and animals used to live on. And so allowing weeds to grow in your yard, being pesticide-free is, and the term pesticide's kind of a misnomer to some people. So pesticide's kind of a general term for controlling basically something unwanted. We think of pesticides as insecticides mostly, I think. And so insecticides are a big problem. That's where we have companies come spray our yards for mosquitoes, stuff like that. Well, the downside is that it also affects other insects. So just making sure you have forageable space for bees, letting weeds grow, stuff like that.
Okay, and I know another thing that we can do is to buy organic produce. And one of the things is a company here called BrightFarms. They're not too far from Cincinnati. Provide pesticide-free organic produce, so that's kind of a good way that we can just help, right?
Yeah. So BrightFarms, it's a really neat setup actually. So they have a hydroponic setup. It's all enclosed, and so this is how they can maintain pesticide-free. So we're talking herbicides, insecticides, stuff like that. And so that's the big problem is these pesticides get in the soil and they can last for years, 30 years or more. So you're looking, I don't know if you probably remember DDT. Was the big one. So back in the 60s, that became a big worldwide known problem. Well, you're still seeing effects of that in today. In 2005, people that had blood samples drawn were still positive for levels of DDT. So it shows you this bioaccumulation of these substances is a big problem. It's going to last for years. And so companies like BrightFarm are taking the appropriate measures to kind of keep their product enclosed and separate from the problems they encounter in insects and weeds and stuff that will affect their crop and keep this crop.
I think we need to wrap up here, but no worries. But if you want to find out more information, do you have a website we could visit?
Yeah, it's GaiserBeeCompany.com.
Pretty simple. We'll have it there, and we'll have it on local12.com, and of course you can check out BrightFarms and find them in local stores as well. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.